picture of the hospital. I was born in Los Angeles, California. Moved to here when I was about 4 or 5 years old. Small family business. Downstairs, all they did was fix used tires. And upstairs is like basically where everyone worked downstairs, hang out with my grandpa, and he'd be watching Court TV or People's Court. And on the front of his computer, he'd be just doing bulletin boards and like coding in BASIC stuff I didn't understand because I was way too young to understand it, but he was just getting really exposed to that. Then a few years after that, started doing this, where he started selling new rims, still working with the used stuff, but just started selling a little bit of new stuff, so it's still kind of fun. It's family business, so it was a lot of work. Then this on the south side, still in Chicago, and we started doing a little bit of wholesale, and now it's mostly just majority of new stuff, like shied away a lot from the used stuff, so it's a little bit more elevated. Then around 04, we started doing mostly just wholesale now, so dealing with a lot of like family businesses, mostly in the Midwest, but throughout the U.S., but it's mostly Chicago. It's a big percentage of it. And working here is where I realized that if I really want to help some of these smaller businesses, I got to develop some technologies and use computers to help me help them. Because before it was just one business, which is a lot easier. Now you're helping many businesses, so I knew I had to use computers some way, somehow. And I remember when I was in high school and I first tried joining a computer club and learned about technologies and stuff and doing ROTC, and at the same time it was a lot of girls, so that was kind of fun. And the JROTC thing really stuck a fancy with me. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was just a really good, exciting time. And then I moved to Indiana. This is me and my friend Corey throwing a 9-pine rifle through the air in the gym, and we would practice, do different competitions, just like trying wild stuff. And I was always just the adrenaline rushes. It was fun, just trying something that nobody else would do. And then I wanted to go to the Army. My dad said no. He said go to college. I said all right. So I went to Purdue. It was a good time. Like a lot of friends and family. And then after that, I was like, well, I still kind of want to do something with the military. So I joined the National Guard, so I could still do college and do some military at the same time. So I figured it was a good way to share it out. Went to boot camp, shaved my head, just free haircut. Actually, we had to pay for the haircuts. That was weird, yeah. And I learned about grids, how to lay things out, how to take a good aim, how to handle things. And after that, the Army gave me a call and was like, hey, what are you doing? You're tearing my minutes, man. What's up? And they sent me here to play with a brand new truck with some big old rims. So I was like, yeah, this is awesome, man. I can dig this. And so then they said, drive us around. And I'm like, all right. So I learned about wireframes and sketching and how to draw a map of the city that we had to drive in and find stuff. And used cars for names for streets because obviously none of the streets had any names. So it's like, how are you going to label things when you find it? We just find, drive on the roads, try to, look at holes. Sometimes you find some stuff. Got pretty decent at it, I think, because we had an award for it, for like finding a bunch of IDs and had over like 200 missions, and it was a pretty good experience. And then we got this award like 6 years later, and it was actually we got mentioned in the '05 State of the Union address by President Bush for the Operation Talifar, and helped out, and so that was pretty nice. Came back, got to meet General Lumberger of Indiana. He was the main general of the National Guard at the time. Got to meet the governor of Indiana also. It was really nice. It actually came out in the paper also. And then back to the family business. Like, all right, got it. Back to the rim thing again. And so I started doing Photoshop and catalogs and putting gigantic rims on cars that you could never fit in real life, but in Photoshop you could. And people would see that and want it. So I was like, wow, that's awesome. All right. And then I would use like a very basic old school desk jet printer. It was stay up super late, live in my dad's basement working on that stuff. And that's actually when I first met my girlfriend at the time. So I first met her, and she would like be sleeping on the couch, and I'd be up on the computer like working and trying to print the samples. And that's my brother, who would work at the different auto shows, conventions, demos, talk to people, see what they're interested in, if they're not interested in, like questions, comments. So did that for a lot of years. But I realized it was a very inefficient process. The same thing repetitive over and over and over. It's just a never-ending cycle. So I figured I could try to use Magento, which is a free open source platform. It's like, all right, cool. We're a real small company. Something that I could, it seems like a magic bullet. Like this is gonna work and solve everything. I thought. 18 months later, it's like, man, this is just killing me. I tried to do it myself. It was just like, it's so incredibly hard. I mean, I got it up, got it working, but it still didn't fix the problem because even with Magento in there, it still was like a giant loop, basically. So a customer with a car goes to a retailer. The retailer calls us, well, my brother-in-law, Oscar. So he'd answer the phone. He calls him, hey, I have this kind of car. Sorts through Excel sheets, goes to Magento, has to go through the catalog, tell the customer, hey, page 5, row 2, okay, that's the first style. The second style, page 8, row 3, second column, and over and over. So the customer, he would say, write that down, go to the next door, then the next door calls, and then over and over. It was just like hamster in a wheel. Like, nah, this can't. It's gotta be a better way. Found out about Starter School through my brother Oscar and my sister. She's a CPS teacher, and Neil gave a speech at about a technology conference for teachers, and that's how I heard about it. And it seemed, he saw it, he was like, Joe, this is you, man. Like, you tried the Magento thing, you tried everything else. Like, this is you. If this doesn't help you, then I don't know, like, what else would. The only problem was basically the commute. It's about an hour and a half each way, because I'm from Indiana, so it's like, man, that's pretty tough, especially in the winter times, but pulled through. And this is how I pulled through. Every morning I was like, man, I'd see them, and it's like my motivation. That's my 2 daughters, Ariel, Mia, and then it's my girlfriend, Amy, my wife, baby. And every morning, I'm sure that's the first time she's a picture, so. But it got me through, because I would see that, and it was like, and even when I would be out here, I'd be like, man, that's why I'm doing this. Like, this is why. And it just was really hard to work at home because, because I was crawling on tables and crawling on everything, just wanting to touch things. And then I was trying to like troubleshoot, learn about pair programming, trying to work with my daughters. And, then they would get frustrated with me, like, Flo left, man, you can fix this, come on. So, but they hung in there with me, they put up with me. But still, I was like going to sleep and still it's like the same problem. Like, all right, I'm not fixing anything. Like, what's going on? So I was just like, all right, you save wheels. I'm going to try to do something with this. And my first approach was like, it's got to be really cool and fancy and like, just got to look really cool. So this is my first attempt where you could type in the different products that you'd be looking for, like if it was a chrome rim or a tire. So you would type in different items and then it would filter out and disappear. And it was like, this is so cool. Like, yeah, it's amazing. But nobody's using desktops. Everybody's using phones. Like, crap. It's not going to work. So, and if you would type in nothing, then nothing would pop up. And then I said, okay, so I needed to make something where they can just put in their make, model of the year of the car, and then just like make a phone. Make it super simple, super easy, nothing to do with inventory, just like what do you have for this car? So like, what are you driving? You click the car, click see packages, you would see the rims and tires for that car, and then from there, you would just have instructions of where you could purchase it. Like either call me, email me, go to this store, go to that store, but it's a very simple process and just direct just to the car. And it's been a never-ending story here at Starter School. It's been a heck of an adventure. Mike asked me a while back, like he's like, man, there's like a gap from 06 to 2014. Like what happened? I'm like, what are you talking about? And then it really got me thinking, like, man, that's bad. Like I got back in 06 and I got back from Iraq in 06 and like I don't know, it just like a big giant gap. Couldn't figure it out. And then all these group of people. They helped me, like, obviously I didn't die in Iraq because I'm here, but they helped me, like, they gave me life again. I learned my weakness, I learned my strengths from seeing what other people built, what they didn't build. Like, you learn what you're good at, you learn what you're really bad at, and you have to accept that, and then learn to work with people who are really good at other things, and that's how you build things. Like, you have to learn to work together. Being by yourself, 18 months, like, no, that should not. I could work with anybody here and get that same thing done in maybe, like, a couple weeks, which would be, like, amazing. And I really, if I had any advice for my fellow classmates, it would basically be that, Scarface said it best, like, the world is yours, and on that note, just going to end it with a bang. All right, thank you.